Students, in cell biology, I was telling you about cell organelles. And in cell organelles, I told you that there are three types of cell organelles. One are single membrane bounded, other one are double membrane bounded, and there are some cell organelles which are non-membrane bounded. So I told you, first of all, I told you about single membrane bounded cell organelles, means those cell organelles which are bounded by or which are covered by a single membrane. For example, this is an endoplasmic reticulum and it is covered by a single membrane. So it is called single membrane bounded organelles. So in single membrane bounded organelles, I told you about endoplasmic reticulum, about Golgi bodies, about lysosome, about microbodies, and about vacuole. In double membrane bounded cell organelles, we have discussed about mitochondria and plastids. What are double membrane bounded organelles? They are covered by a double membrane. So, for example, this is mitochondria. This is the outer membrane of mitochondria, and this one is an inner membrane of mitochondria. So it is double membrane bounded structure. So mitochondria, plastids. In plastid, there is chloroplast. Chloroplast is also double membrane bounded cell organelles. And now we are going to discuss about non-membrane bounded cell organelles. So we have covered single membrane bounded and double membrane bounded cell organelles, and now we are going to discuss about non-membrane bounded cell organelles. Examples of non-membrane bounded cell organelles are ribosomes, centriole, and cytoskeleton. They are not covered by any membrane. That's why they are called non-membrane bounded cell organelles. So first of all, we will discuss about ribosome. So let's start with ribosomes. Okay, the term ribosome was first time used by a scientist. The term ribosome was first time used by a scientist whose name was Pallet. Now, as far as ribosomes are concerned, so ribosomes are non-membranous. Non-membranous means they are not covered by any membrane. After that, they are granular. They are granular, roughly spherical. They are dense, grains-like structure, and they are roughly spherical. They are little bit spherical, but they are not totally spherical. That's why they are called granular and roughly spherical structure. After that, uh, can only be seen with electron microscope. It means that we cannot see ribosome in simple or compound microscope. We can only see ribosomes in electron microscope. As the endoplasmic reticulum are also or can also be observed in electronic microscope. In the same way, ribosome can also be observed or can be seen with electronic microscope. After that, ribosomes are found both in prokaryotic as well as eukaryotic cell. Ribosomes are the cell organelles which are found both in prokaryotic cell as well as in eukaryotic cell. As you know that prokaryotic cell is a type of cell which doesn't have a proper nucleus, and eukaryotic cell is a type of cell which has a proper nucleus. Now it is found in both in prokaryotic cell as well as in eukaryotic cell. But in prokaryotic cell, in prokaryotic cell, they found free in cytoplasm. They found free in cytoplasm. Look at here. So for example, this is a prokaryotic cell. This is the genetic material of prokaryotic cell, and these are ribosomes. You can see here these ribosomes are these green structures. Ribosomes are found free in the cytoplasm of eukaryotic cell. In prokaryotic cell. While in eukaryotic cell, in eukaryotic cells, ribosomes are found. Look at here. This is a eukaryotic cell, and this is the nucleus of a eukaryotic cell. Inside nucleus, this is the genetic material of eukaryotic cell. In eukaryotic cell, ribosomes found free in cytoplasm. These are ribosomes which are found free in cytoplasm. So in eukaryotic cell, ribosomes are found free in cytoplasm. They also attach with with uh, with the membrane of endoplasmic reticulum and nucleus. So ribosomes found free in cytoplasm in eukaryotic cell. Ribosome found free in cytoplasm, but they also attach with the cell membrane, with the membrane of endoplasmic reticulum, and they also attach with the membrane of nuclear membrane. So it means in eukaryotic cell, you can see here these are the ribosomes which are found free in cytoplasm, but they also attach with membrane. They may attach with the nuclear membrane or with the membrane of endoplasmic reticulum. And in eukaryotic cell, they are also found in some cell organelles. Which are these cell organelles? In mitochondria as well as in chloroplast. These are two cell organelles. One is mitochondria and other one is chloroplast. In mitochondria, in the stroma of mitochondria, in the matrix of mitochondria and in the stroma of chloroplast, ribosomes are also found. And another point is that in prokaryotic cell, ribosome is 70S, and in eukaryotic cell, ribosome is 80S. What is 70S and what is 80S? I will tell you when I will discuss about the types of ribosomes. After that, as far as the synthesis of ribosome is concerned, to where in which part of cell, especially in eukaryotic cell, in which part of cell these ribosomes are formed or where the synthesis of ribosome take place. So the synthesis of ribosome take place in the nucleus of nucleus. This is a eukaryotic cell. This is nucleus. This is the nuclear membrane. And as you know that inside the nucleus, there is a dense structure, rounded structure, which is called nucleus, So where these ribosomes are formed or synthesized, the ribosome are synthesized in nucleus. They are formed in nucleus. From nucleus, they transfer to the cytoplasm. From nucleus, they transfer to the to the cytoplasm through these nuclear pores. In the nuclear membrane, there are certain pores, and the ribosome transfer from nucleus to cytoplasm through these nuclear pores. But where the ribosome are synthesized, where these ribosomes are produced, they produce in the nucleus. After that, chemical composition of ribosomes. So ribosomes are made up of almost equal amount of ribosomal RNA and protein, especially in case of eukaryotic cell. So ribosome are made up of equal amount of ribonucleic acid and protein. Uh, for example, 45% RNA, then it means 50% or 55% protein. They almost equal amount of RNA and ribosomal RNA and protein. Because they have ribosomal RNA, these cell organelles have ribosomal RNA. That's why they are called, they have ribonucleic acid. That's why these cell organelles are called ribosomes. Matlab, those bodies which have ribosomal RNA. This is what this was all about the synthesis, about the chemical composition of ribosome. After that, structure of ribosome. Structure of ribosomes. As far as the structure of ribosome is concerned, ribosome is made up of two subunits. Ribosome is made up of two subunits. One is called larger subunit and other one is called smaller subunit. This is a ribosome. This one is larger subunit and this one is smaller subunit. This one is larger subunit and this one is a smaller subunit. So larger subunit is dome shape. You can see here larger subunit is dome shape and smaller subunit is cap shape. This one I'm giving it a red color. This red color structure is larger subunit. It is dome shape. And this yellow color structure is a smaller subunit and it is cap shape structure. As I told you that in eukaryotic cells, ribosomes are attached with the membrane of endoplasmic reticulum or with the membrane of with nuclear membrane. So ribosome attached with membrane, especially with the membrane of endoplasmic reticulum with the help of larger subunit. This one is larger subunit and ribosomes attach with larger with endoplasmic reticulum with the help of with larger subunit. And there is a protein called ribofin. There is a protein, so I'm going to write here that ribosome attach with endoplasmic reticulum membrane. So ribosome attach with endoplasmic reticulum membrane by larger subunit. But there is a protein called ribofin. Which help in this attachment. There is a protein. This one is this green protein. This protein is called ribofin, and this protein help in the attachment of this protein help in the attachment of larger subunit with endoplasmic reticulum. Mostly this larger subunit and smaller subunit, they separate with each other. They remain separate with each other. They join with each other only at the time of protein synthesis. As we know that the main function of ribosome is protein synthesis. So most of the time, these two subunit, larger subunit and smaller subunit, they remain separate with each other, but they only joined with each other at the time of protein synthesis. They join with each other at the time of protein synthesis. Otherwise, they remain separate with each other. Now, there are two types of ribosomes. If we talk about the types of ribosome, so there are two types of ribosome. What are these two types of ribosome? One is 70S ribosome and other one is 80S ribosome. There are two types of ribosome. One is 70S ribosome and other one is 80S ribosome. Now, what is the difference between what is the main differences between 70S and 80S ribosome? So look at here. Here I am going to write about 70th ribosome to show you the clear differences between 70S ribosome and 80S ribosomes. So here 70S ribosomes are found in prokaryotic cell. They are found in prokaryotic cell. And 80S ribosome, they are found in eukaryotic cell. 70S ribosome found in prokaryotic cell and 80S ribosome found in eukaryotic cell. Now here, what is the meaning of this S? 70S. What is the meaning of this S? S stand for Svedberg constant or sediment coefficient. Svedberg constant or sedimentation coefficient. S stand for this. So what is this sedimentation coefficient or Svedberg constant? So sedimentation coefficient, which means that the ribosome, when we centrifuge 70S ribosome, for example, this is a centrifuge tube, and when we centrifuge this 70S ribosome, when we centrifuge this 70S ribosome, uh, it will settle down at the rate of, it will settle down means it will settle down here at the rate of 70S. It will settle down at the rate of 70S. When we centrifuge, as you have learned in your previous lecture, that we centrifuge the cell organelles. So 70S ribosome centrifuge at the rate of 70S. In the same way, when you took an 80S ribosome, when you take an 80S ribosome and when you centrifuge it, it will settle down at the rate of 80S. That's why these ribosomes are called 80S ribosome and these ribosomes are called as 70S ribosome. S stand for Svedberg constant or sediment coefficient. After that, the first difference between 70S and 80S ribosome is that 70S ribosomes found in prokaryotic cell and 80S ribosome found in eukaryotic cell. After that, 70S ribosomes are smaller in size and 80S ribosomes are larger in size. These are smaller in size and they are the larger in size. As we know that 70S ribosomes are found in, where 70S ribosomes are found in, I told you that 70S ribosomes are found in prokaryotic cell. But in eukaryotic cell, these 70S ribosomes are found in are found in mitochondria and chloroplast. Found in mitochondria and chloroplast. So these 70S ribosomes are found in prokaryotic cell, but they also found in eukaryotic cell. But in eukaryotic cell, they are not found everywhere in eukaryotic cell, but in eukaryotic cell, they are only found in mitochondria and in chloroplast. One thing more. So for example, this is 70S. This is 70S ribosome. When we separate these when we separate two ribosomal subunit, one is larger ribosomal subunit and other one is smaller ribosomal subunit. When we separate it and centrifuge it, the larger subunit has a sedimentation of 50S and smaller subunit has a sedimentation of will have the sedimentation of 30S. For example, this is the larger subunit of 70S ribosome and this is the smaller unit of 70S ribosome. When you separate these two subunits of ribosome and when you will centrifuge it, this larger subunit will centrifuge at the rate of 50S, at the rate of 50S, and this smaller subunit will centrifuge at the rate of 30S. When you will combine both of these two subunits, when you will combine both of these two subunits, as I have told you that both of these two subunits join together at the time of protein synthesis. When you will join both of these subunits and when you will centrifuge them, their sediment coefficient will be 70S. So why they became 70S? When they separate, they became 50S and 70S. But when we will combine them, they will become 70S. Why? Because this is the larger subunit, which have larger area, which has the area of 50, sedimentation 50S, and this is smaller subunit, which is 30S. But when you will join both of these together, when you will join both of these together, the area will reduce. The area will reduce. The half of the smaller subunit is covered by larger subunit. So when this area become reduced, their sedimentation will also be reduced because 50S and 30X it will become 80S. But when we combine both of these two subunit and when we will centrifuge them, they will become 70S because some area is covered by with each other. After that, in the same way, 80S ribosome, there is 80S ribosome, and 80S ribosome also has two subunit, larger and smaller. Larger subunit is 60S and smaller subunit is 40S. In the same way, when you centrifuge this larger subunit, it will centrifuge or it will settle down at the rate of 60S, and when you will centrifuge smaller subunit, this one, it will settle down or it will sediment at the rate of 40S. But when you will join both of these together, the area will become reduced. You can see the area of these two. As I can give you the example of cap and pen. For example, this is the cap of your pen and this is your pen. This is, say for example, it is 2 centimeter and it is 5 centimeter. But when you join both of these together, when you join this pen with this, they become they will not become 7 centimeter. When you will measure it, it will become, so for example, it will become 3 centimeter, because some of the area of pen is covered by, some of the area of pen is covered by this cap. In the same way, when you join together, one is 60s and other one is 40s. But when we join together, they become 80s. After their sedimentation rate became 80s. I hope it is clear. Now, now the assembly of ribosomes. Now, what do you mean by assembly of ribosome? When two subunit, this is larger subunit, this one is larger subunit, and this one is smaller subunit. When these two subunits join together, their joining is called assembly. We have seen there are two subunits of ribosome, smaller and larger subunit. Normally they remain separate. There are two subunits of ribosome, one is larger and other one is smaller. So smaller and larger subunit normally remain separate. Smaller subunit attached to membrane, larger subunit attached to membrane, and smaller subunit could remain in cytoplasm. For example, this is a membrane of endoplasmic reticulum. So smaller subunit, larger subunit remain attached. This is larger subunit. So larger subunit remain attached with membrane, and smaller subunit remain free in cytoplasm. This is a smaller subunit and it remain free in the cytoplasm. It remain free in cytoplasm. When protein to be synthesized, these two subunit bind for it. When protein synthesis take place, these subunit bind with each other. This binding of two subunit is called assembly. This binding of two subunit is called assembly. Now, how this assembly take place? Which molecules help in this assembly? This is again, this is larger subunit. This one is larger subunit, and this one is a smaller subunit. For the binding of for the binding of these two subunits, magnesium ions concentration is required. How much magnesium ion concentration is required? 0.001 molar. 0.001 molar magnesium ion concentration is required for the binding of this larger with this smaller subunit and larger subunit. So these magnesium ion concentration, how much magnesium ion is required for the binding of these two subunit? 0.001 molar magnesium ion concentration is required for the binding of these two subunit. If this concentration of magnesium ion is available, then larger and smaller subunit join, and we get to see a complete ribosome, and this process is called assembly. When this magnesium ion concentration is available, both larger and smaller subunit will join with each other, and a complete ribosome will form, and this joining is called assembly. But if concentration of if concentration of magnesium ion is less than 0.001 mole, then two subunit separate. If there are less concentration of means lower than 0.001 1 molar concentration of magnesium, these two subunits will become separate with each other, and this is not called assembly, but this will called dissociation. When the concentration of magnesium ion 0.001 molar, they join with each other, this process is called assembly. But when the concentration of magnesium ion less than 0.001 molar, they will become separate from each other, and this is called dissociation. But one thing more, if the concentration of if the concentration of magnesium ion is more than 0.001 molar, the two ribosome join, and this is called dimer. So for example, if the concentration of magnesium is more than 0.001 molar, then the two ribosome will join with each other. When two ribosomes join with each other, this is called dimer. What I told you, first of all, I told you that if concentration of magnesium ion is 0.001 molar, then what will happen? Larger and smaller subunit will join with each other. See? But if magnesium ion concentration is low than 0.001 mole, then these two larger and smaller subunit will separate from each other. But when the concentration is high than 0.001 molar, then two ribosomes will join with each other and they will form a dimer. And there is also another term, polysomes. So what do you mean by polysome? Chain of ribosome with attached with single messenger RNA. As you know that when ribosome synthesis protein, the message will come by messenger RNA. Messenger RNA get message from DNA and transfer it to ribosome for protein synthesis. What are messenger RNA? They transfer message from DNA to RNA, from DNA to ribosomes for protein synthesis. So this is the chain of ribosome. This is one ribosome, this is second ribosome, this is third ribosome, and this one is fourth ribosome. When a chain of ribosome attach with a single messenger RNA, this one is messenger RNA, this one is messenger RNA, this one is messenger RNA, and these are ribosomes. When group of ribosome attach with a single messenger RNA, so this unit is called polysome. Polysome is nothing but it is a group of ribosome which attach with a single messenger RNA. Now in last, I will tell you about function of ribosome. As you know that main function of ribosome is protein synthesis. Because of this function, ribosomes are also called protein factory of cells. Means these are the factories where protein synthesis take place. As you know that protein synthesis take place in two steps. One is transcription and other one is translation. We will discuss transcription and translation in chapter number 6 of DNA and chromosomes and DNA. We will discuss in chapter chromosomes and DNA about the detailed process of protein synthesis.